Once upon a time, in a small African village nestled between lush forests and rolling hills, lived a boy named Kofi. Orphaned at a tender age, Kofi had lost both his parents to a mysterious illness. Instead of compassion, the villagers met him with disdain and cruelty. "Look at him," one villager would sneer. "The boy with no parents. He's cursed." "Get away from my house, Kofi," another would shout. "You'll bring bad luck to us all." Despite their harsh treatment, Kofi grew into a resilient and strong young man. The shame and mistreatment could not dim his spirit. One day, the village was abuzz with an announcement from the king. The royal messenger, adorned in bright colors, stood in the village square and proclaimed, "Hear ye, hear ye. The king decrees that Princess Amina will marry the man who can retrieve the Book of Knowledge from the Forbidden Forest." The crowd gasped. The Forbidden Forest was known for its deadly dangers. No one who had entered had ever returned. Yet, the promise of marrying the princess and gaining the king's favor was too tempting to ignore. "I will go," boasted a burly villager, flexing his muscles. "Count me in," shouted another, brandishing a spear. But Kofi, standing at the edge of the crowd, had already made up his mind. That night, he packed a small satchel with what little food he had and set off toward the forest, driven by a deep desire to change his fate. As Kofi approached the forest's edge, an old woman with wise eyes appeared from the shadows. "Why do you go into the forest, child?" she asked. "I seek the Book of Knowledge to change my life and prove my worth," Kofi replied. The old woman nodded, her eyes twinkling. "Take this," she said, handing him a small carved stone. "It will guide you when you are lost." Kofi accepted the gift gratefully and stepped into the forest. The journey was perilous. He faced wild beasts with glowing eyes, treacherous ravines, and paths that twisted and turned back on themselves. He clung to the old woman's stone, which seemed to glow faintly, guiding him through the darkest nights. One evening, as he rested by a stream, a shadow loomed over him. It was a giant serpent, its eyes gleaming with malice. "You seek the Book of Knowledge, boy," it hissed. "Many have tried, and all have failed." Kofi stood his ground, his heart pounding. "I will not fail," he said, gripping the stone tightly. With a sudden burst of courage, he used the stone to deflect the serpent's venomous strikes and found a hidden path that led deeper into the forest. After what seemed like an eternity, Kofi stumbled upon a magnificent ancient tree with a hidden door. Inside, he found the Book of Knowledge, its pages glowing with an otherworldly light. Clutching the book to his chest, Kofi made his way back to the village. When he emerged from the forest, the villagers gathered, their faces a mix of shock and awe. "He's returned," someone shouted. "The boy has returned alive," another exclaimed. Kofi walked straight to the king's palace, the villagers parting before him like a sea. He stood before the king and Princess Amina, holding the Book of Knowledge high. "Your Majesty," Kofi said, his voice steady, "I have brought the Book of Knowledge." The king, astounded, rose from his throne. "You, Kofi, have achieved what many thought impossible. You shall marry Princess Amina and become a member of the royal family." Princess Amina stepped forward, her eyes filled with admiration. "Kofi, your bravery and resilience have proven your worth." Kofi and Princess Amina were married in a grand ceremony, and his life changed forever. No longer the ashamed and mistreated orphan, he was now respected and loved. He used the wisdom from the Book of Knowledge to rule the village with fairness and compassion, ensuring that no one else would ever suffer as he had. Kofi's journey from shame to triumph became a legend in the village, a tale of courage, perseverance, and the transformative power of knowledge and kindness.